Hi, it's BK here from BK Gold Detecting, and welcome to another video in the series Let's Talk About Gold Detecting. Well, today is a very different topic because today we're going to explore some of the small quartz reefs in this area, because I've just found in this hole a beautiful specimen. Well, I think it's beautiful because it needs to be cleaned up yet, but this, along with one that Eliza found last week just behind me in the gully, leads me to believe that some of the quartz reefs in this area are holding gold, some of the small quartz reefs. Now, there are some major workings north of me here, but I believe that a lot of the smaller quartz reefs running through the area are also containing gold, and that's what we're going to be looking for today. Our specimen is gold still in the rock. Now, at the moment it needs cleaning, but hopefully you can see what I can see. On the end of that piece of ironstone and quartz there's the glitter of gold. So we'll take that back to camp later and we'll clean it up and we'll have a good look. But look, this is a really good start. Anyway, the reason for this video is that last week when we made the last video, Eliza found a beautiful specimen of quartz and gold just in the gully, just behind me. And it just happened to be very close to where I found quite a few nuggets many years ago, all of which were covered in ironstone and quartz. So look, it'd be easy to say they've just come from the big mine that's further up the hill, but these were very, very rough and they look to me like they haven't travelled very far. So I've always believed in the back of my mind that some of the small quartz reefs that I'm intersecting when I'm digging down probably are actually the host reefs. You know, they could be just small stringers coming out of the main reef, which are, you know, heavily mineralized and containing gold. But it would be interesting today just to find a few of these small reefs, take some samples and maybe crush them in the pot later on back at camp and pan them to see if there's any signs of gold. Now, the interesting thing is that this specimen, which I just pulled out of this hole, is literally only meters away from a spot right here where I got an 8-gram nugget right up against this tree about 5 or 6 years ago, and it was also heavily encrusted in quartz and ironstone. So our task for today is to clear this area of rocks and pieces of wood, etc., and then we're going to detect it very carefully with both the GPX 6000 and the GPZ, not just looking for surface nuggets, because we've been over this area really carefully. I'm listening for ground noise, because often the ground noise is where there's a mineralization underneath, which could be a quartz reef, and that's exactly how I found that specimen just before. I heard ground noise, I dug down about 3 inches, started to find some little pieces of ironstone and quartz, and then I could hear something deeper, so I kept digging down and I pulled out that specimen. So the first area I'm going to clear is between where I found the nugget 5 or 6 years ago, which is that tree there, back towards where I got the specimen, and also towards a prospecting hole down there where I also found a decent sized nugget many years ago. So I'll scrape this off. Eliza's gone away to do a bit of detecting while I'm doing this, and then I'll call her back and we'll start detecting. When you're doing this sort of detecting, it's important you get the coil right on the ground. You're listening to really, really faint targets. So it really is necessary to rake a very small area, but just make sure you restore it once you're finished. Well, while I'm busy clearing, Eliza's playing in the bushes with a detector here. She's called me over. What have you found?
Tiny one.
Oh yeah, let's have a look. Oh, look at that, beautiful. See if I can zoom in a bit. Oh, look at that, beautiful. Well done, honey.
In the tree.
Oh, you done well, honey. I'm still busy clearing over there. I'll call you over once I'm done.
That's good.
You are not going to believe the size of the hole that Eliza has dug. Now, before you get too excited, it's not the hand of faith. But this is a good demonstration about how deep this coil goes. Have a listen to this. Far above the ground, Eliza is with her coil. Now I can tell you, I walked over this earlier and thought there was a piece of junk on the surface, but Eliza kicked it away and there was still a signal. And how far have you dug down, honey?
I don't know, spent ages sitting there, digging and digging.
Anyway, this hole, which seriously, have a look at this. It's as deep as the pick, and this is picked up with a 9-inch coil, so don't tell me a 9-inch coil can't go down deep. If this was the hand of faith nugget, it would have picked it up easily at that depth. Okay, let's have a look to see what it was. Wow, I've never seen a hole so deep. I can't believe Eliza dug this. The rim of an old bucket, by the look of it, a steel miner's bucket, buried deep in the ground. Now, no way I'm going to be able to dig that out, and there's no point. But the whole thing is here, is that I walked away from a screaming target here on the surface, piece of junk. Eliza dug down. That could have been a 100-ounce nugget over 2 feet down, and just goes to prove that even with a 9-inch coil on a GPX 6000, you will find that big one if it's down deep. Now come on, I've got a bit of a bone to pick with you.
What?
If that really was a big nugget, I would have missed you digging it up. You didn't call me over until you dug the hole. Next time call me over.
No, you don't know.
One. There'd be no record. You could have the foot of faith and no one would even know.
I keep it a secret.
Yeah, keep it a secret. Yeah, maybe she did pull a big one out and she hasn't told me about it. Okay, just while the coffee's boiling, we'll clean up this specimen I found before. Oh, by the way, I promise you this is not my toothbrush. It's Eliza's.
Excuse me.
Oh look, already, look at that. Oh look, look at that. Can you see it? Look at that. Beautiful. Gold on the top there. You can see gold even going down in here, you know. This is a classical, like you've got ironstone one side and quartz the other. That's where the gold likes to be, you know. No, really happy with that. Just a closer look at that in the sunlight here. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Wow. Let's just hope we can find a reef nearby there that's where this has come from. Okay, I've cleared quite a large area down there. After we've had our coffee, I'm going to get Eliza to go over with the GPX 6000, and she's asked me to put the double D coil on because she's noticing that the ground is very, very noisy, which is not surprising. The whole area there's covered in ironstone, so she wants to give the double D a bit of a go. So I'll just install that and then we'll go down and see what Eliza can find. What are you going to find, honey?
Don't know.
What are you going to find, honey?
Surprise.
You're supposed to say a big one.
Okay.
Take two. What are you going to find, honey?
Hopefully a big one. But I will keep it a secret.
Oh yeah, I still reckon you pulled a big one out of that hole where that old bucket was. Check out, let me check your pockets. Okay, look, I've cleared an area here that I want Eliza to go over. That's where I found an 8 grammer up against that tree. So I've circled around that, back towards the gully where I found another one up there. And then that's where I got the specimen this morning, just behind Cody. Now Eliza's marked a couple of potential targets. Well, this is the most promising one. This one sounds quite deep. Yeah, I like the sound of that. Got to be at least one nugget in this area. Great, a huge area here.
Yep. Let's hope so.
Yeah, I can still hear it. Well, if it's still in there now, it's starting to get down to some gravelly ground. And what I like about this, just like the other ones we found, look, just looking just up here, look at all the quartz on the ground. Wherever we've seen lots of quartz like this, there's been little veins straight underneath. Seems to be crisscrossed all over this area. Woohoo! Ooh, sounding good. It's a bit awkward with this big coil. This is the 14-inch double D on the 6000. How are you finding it, Eliza?
It's very quiet signal.
That's good. It's actually very good for noisy ground. Come on, be gold. It's getting late in the day.
Oh, it's out.
Oh, it's out. Whoa, that sounds good. Look at all the broken quartz in the ground here, and more in the scoop there. Oh, I heard something.
Yep.
Oh, you see something?
Yeah, look.
Show me. Oh,
It's,
wow. Beautiful.
it's a lot of ironstone.
Yep, that's exactly the same as the other ones. Look at that. Ironstone on it. That hasn't come far from a reef. And there's quartz right the way through here. That's a beautiful nugget. That's got to go at least a gram, that one. Maybe even a bit more.
Not sure.
And look,
A lot of ironstone.
lots of quartz on the ground here, and there's quartz coming out of the hole. This, literally everywhere you dig here, there's really fine quartz veins. So I'm going to crush some of this quartz. Look how much ironstone there is through that. Yeah, definitely seems to be in the ironstone, where the ironstone and the quartz meet. Woohoo!
Kevin, there's one there.
Another target there. We see how we go with that one too. In the container, let's see what you got for the day. You got a couple of small ones.
Two tiny one. Let's see.
Okay, let's have a look. Let's have a look what's in there. Oh wow, beautiful. And there's a couple of small bits in there as well that Eliza got earlier.
Yep, that two small bit.
And well, actually that big bit is the specimen from last week. And the dirty looking black one in the left hand corner is the one Eliza just dug out. Looks like close to a gram, and that's got ironstone on it as well. So well, there you go, honey.
Thank you.
Just what we were after. Okay, this is one of the other targets Eliza's found. Nice sharp sound. Let's see what we got there.
Great shot.
Well, another lead shot. Well, this is one of the spots where there's a thin seam of quartz going through. So, yep, we'll pick a couple of samples back to crush. And let's just see what Eliza's found here. Well, honey, you must be happy. You've got one decent bit.
Yep.
Okay. Now I'm going to go over really quickly with the GPZ. To be honest with you, it's getting very late in the day, so it'll just be a quick go over. I might have to go over it more thoroughly next time, and then we'll go back and crush some quartz. Well, this is just another example of what I believe is the weathered top section of a small quartz reef going through this area. This is right in the middle of an area where we found some very, very rough nuggets attached to quartz and ironstone. This tree right next to me here is where I found an 8-grammer. The specimen I found was just behind where the camera is, and I also found an 8-grammer by a prospecting hole just down there. Now, I'm not 100% sure that this is actually a quartz reef, but there seems to be a concentration of quartz in a line here with no quartz on the top side of it. And in the distance I can see broken quartz all over the surface. So I'm pretty sure if I dug down deep enough I would get to a solid quartz reef. But this is only the weathered section at the top. But look, I will take a few samples. Not too confident with this one because it's not very mineralized. The quartz seems to be quite, you know, just white quartz with very little mineralization. Unlike the small part of a reef I found in the hole where I got the specimen, where the quartz was highly mineralized. So anyway, it'll be interesting to crush some samples and see if we actually find anything. Look, we haven't made a lot of finds, but I think what we'll do, we'll get them out and we'll show you our finds. And then what we can do is crush that quartz that we found in that little bit of a reef and see if there's any signs at all of gold. Look, we've got a beautiful specimen there and a smaller piece of quartz with a bit of gold in as well. And, you know, there's a few smaller bits there. And there's a beautiful ironstone encrusted piece there that Eliza found yesterday. So, you know, we've enjoyed the last couple of days searching for a reef. And in a minute, we'll crush the quartz that we found near the specimen and see if it contains any gold. This is some of the quartz out of a small reef that was going through the hole where I found the specimen. You can see there, look at the mineralization on that. You've got quartz and you've got ironstone in there. Yeah, look, that is, yeah, that's definitely worth crushing. So a dolly pot is just a metal tube with a hammer, and you put the quartz inside and you can crush it down to a powder, and then you can pan it in a dish to see if there's any traces of gold. Now, if it's a gold-bearing reef, it only has to have the tiniest little specks of gold in it, because the gold will be spread throughout the reef. The chances of it being in this bit is fairly slim, but often there'll be very, very tiny pieces right through the quartz. So we'll take this onto some hard ground and we'll crush it, and then we'll see what we've got. Okay, that's about as crushed as I can get it. This is a very small dolly pot, so it's a bit hard, but as you can see there, look, it's not completely broken down, but I think that's broken down enough that hopefully we'll get some colour in that. We'll put some water in and we'll see how we go. We'll get as much of the dirt out as we can, try and get the water as clear as we can. Well, I've panned it off the best I can, and if you've got good eyes, you might just see the tiniest little bit of gold there in the top corner, which tells me that that little vein of quartz is gold bearing, which is good news. Now look, I think most of the little veins around here are going to have a certain amount of gold in them, but it's good to actually see it in the pan. And also there was one tiny little piece of quartz, I'll show you, that I could see a speck of gold in as well. Hint of something in this one here. If you look carefully, right in the top right hand corner there, tiny little grain of gold. So yep, that confirms that small bit of reef there has got gold. I hope you've enjoyed our couple of days searching for a quartz reef here at Inglewood. Look, you know, I'm pretty sure we found signs of small quartz reefs going through the area where we found our specimens. We'll never know for sure without digging down a lot deeper. But, you know, we've had a lot of fun, and we found some beautiful specimens and some smaller gold. And Eliza got the fright of her life when she dug down over 2 feet, you know, the length of the pick, only to find a miner's bucket in the ground. And I still can't believe she didn't call me over. I mean, imagine, it could have been a 100-ounce nugget and she didn't share it with the world. Anyway, you didn't find a 100-ounce nugget, did you?
No.
You sure? I better check her pockets before we go home. Anyway, look, if you've enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to our channel. And if you're new, if this is the first time you've watched BK Gold Detecting, maybe consider watching our series, Finding Your First Gold Nugget. It's a really good introduction to gold detecting for those who are just starting out and struggling to find their first nugget. Anyway, until next time, see ya.